We're women and we invest.
Hi, everybody. My name is Janelli, also known as Miss Be Helpful. And I brought my girls here together. We have Julie.
Hi, Investing Latina.
And Natalie.
Financially Savvy Latina.
And I think it's just really important to show representation of young women who invest in a lot of different ways, but just invest with their own goals and their own strategies. So we're just going to talk about that really quick. And we're going to start by first talking about how do you invest? How are you an investor? So let's start with Julie and then we'll work our way over to Natalie.
Yes. So I am an investor because I have a traditional individual retirement account.
And then why did you choose that type of account?
So I chose this type of account because I know that I am working a lot now, but when I turn 50, 55, 65, I will no longer be working the way that I'm working now. So this is why I started saving from an early age. I actually started saving when I was 19 through my employer-sponsored account and have converted it into my individual retirement account. And I know that when I get to that age, it'll be nice to have a little cushion, something in the bank.
A lot of cushion.
A lot of cushion, right?
That's awesome. So when you left your old job, you took the money that you had in your account with your job and you took it and put it in your own account. So you're just investing by yourself.
I mean, when you have it at your job, it's still your money. Mm-hmm. You get to decide what you're going to do with it once you leave that job. And I decided to move it over. And the way that the structure is set up is that you put it into a retirement account, an individual retirement account specifically.
That's awesome. Yeah, which people call IRA.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, IRA. Cool. Yes. So Natalie, tell us, how do you invest?
So in many ways as well, and one of my favorite is through real estate. And one way to do it is buying a rental property or eventually buying your home. Mm-hmm. And a way to do that is saving enough money. And I would say if you can save at least 20%, because that'll help you for your down payment when you're buying a place. And for a lot of people, they get really overwhelmed by thinking, oh my gosh, a mortgage forever. Yeah. No, you can always keep it for as many years as you need it and then sell it when it's a good time to sell. Mm-hmm. And so don't always think that you have to have so much amount of money. And if you live in expensive cities like we do, New York and LA, for me, my biggest thing was I had to invest out of state first and eventually bought a place in my home state in California. So there's many different ways of doing it. Don't be afraid. You can join even mastermind groups that will help you along the way. And one of the top tips is finding the best broker that is a real estate investor themselves as well, because then they help you find the right rental property to work in. And it's something you create passive income, which is the best thing for me, because that's something that you don't have to work at and it's coming in monthly, and it's a check that you get to take to the bank in a good way.
So when you have a rental property, the people, you're like the landlord, and the people that live there, they pay rent. You get the rent money, and you pay a little bit to the bank, and then you keep the rest. So you're basically always making money every month from the people that live there.
Right, and I noticed a lot of college students start doing this when they buy a place while they're in college. Their roommates become not only their tenants, but they're paying off their mortgage, and they get to travel while their mortgage is getting paid off. That's how I started.
I know. I wish I did that too, right?
I wish I knew. I did not have.
I would have been a little bit richer, right?
Yes. I didn't know any of this stuff, which is so cool. The way that I invest is very similar to Julie. Actually, I haven't ventured into real estate, but I'm very interested to learn more about it. As I get a little older, it's becoming something that I want to learn about. But the way that I invest, I have a Roth IRA, which similar to Julie is an individual retirement account. But the difference is the taxes. So sometimes when you invest money, taxes can seem confusing. But all you really need to know is that you're either going to have to pay taxes on the earnings that you make, the profits that you make from the stock market, either now or you have to pay for it later. But you can't avoid paying the taxes. So with a Roth, I'm choosing to pay the taxes now so I don't have to worry about taxes later in my life. When I'm 55 or 50 or 60 and I take the money out, I already paid taxes. Versus Julie with her traditional IRA, she's choosing to put all the money in there and wait until she takes the money out later in her life
to then pay taxes.
So it's just up to you, your personal choice. I really like the Roth IRA and I try to put as much as I can in there, but it's really important that you do research and check what are the limits that the government puts on these accounts. Because if you put too much money, if you're not allowed to put more than a certain amount and you break that rule, then you get charged fees and you have to pay all. So you want to make sure that you're following the rules. But I really like investing in the stock market because I think it's rare. When I talk to people about it, they're like, wait, what? You grew up in New York City in a low-income family in a Latino household and you have stock investments?
Right.
So I really think it's important for us to talk about this. It doesn't have to be as complicated as people like to make it seem. You just have to learn the basics.
Start small.
Yeah.
Start small.
I started with $50. I was 19 years old. I had no idea what I was doing. But I said, you know what? $50 is not going to hurt me. It's just a little less shopping for me.
And you changed your habit too.
Yeah, and it also developed a habit of just always doing it. So you start with 50 And before you know it, you're investing $500 a month.
Yeah.
And at that rate, you're going to be a millionaire in no time.
It's going to be some time. Maybe 30, 40 years, you can have $1 million. But I think that's a really important point too, because when I was growing up, people didn't talk about having $1 million. That's like, what? We don't know anyone in my community that has $1 million. And so if my parents had started investing when Julie started investing at 19 or at 25, if they knew by the time they retire, which, you know, is in their 50s, 60s, 70, you can have $1 million if you invest a couple of $100 every single month in a diversified account. But these are things that we don't actually learn in school, which is,
and our friends don't really talk about
friends
it.
don't talk about
and that's
it.
what we're here to change. We want you to talk about this with your friends.
That's right.
We want you to share this knowledge, and we want you to get started. That's obviously like what is most important to us, and the reason why I really enjoy sharing my story. And we have to recognize that just because people around us aren't doing something or they haven't done it, our parents didn't necessarily know about this, we can be that change. We can create something different. We can have an investment portfolio for ourselves.
Yes.
You can always adjust it. I can decide to move it a little bit more into real estate or go into a business. There are a lot of different ways to invest.
And you might have to be the first person to do it.
Right.
If you're the first person, that's okay amongst your friends. That was something that I had to do. And that meant a lot of times people ask me, how did you buy your first place at 24? And I said, easy. I didn't pay for any shoes that were above $100. I didn't own any, and I didn't buy any bags that were worth more than $100. All that money that I was saving, I was actually saving it towards my first down payment. So do what your friends aren't willing to do to have a better 30s. You got to sacrifice some things in your 20s, but trust me, it's a lot better when you're going to the bank.
That is right. I was definitely in that position where I was spending a lot of money on clothes and shoes and makeup and nails. And when it finally hit me that if I add up all the dollars that I was spending on the clothes, the shoes, the makeup, the hair, the bags, the trips, all the meals and the sodas and the this and that, and I add it up, I'm like,
a lot.
Oh wow! I could have had $1,000 in my checking account if I didn't do all the shopping. So that actually really hit me. I decided to cut down on my shopping, cut down on all the entertainment, just limit it a little bit. You don't have to cut it all out. Have some fun, but in moderation, just a little bit of fun and also a little bit of saving. And that helped me to start as well. I think I started with $50 too. And then I went to 100
all it
and then
takes.
150 and then 200. So I definitely start small, and you have to change a little bit of your habits to be able to become the kind of person who prioritizes saving and investing money for your future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like as soon as once you get started and you start to build that confidence, you know that you're an investor and you start to make choices and you're like, you know what? I'm going to choose not to go to brunch this week because I would like to put $60 more into my account. So once you start with that mentality, you really, it kind of snowballs from there.
That's right.
And you really end up having a nice chunk of money in the bank.
Because you set goals. Like I remember when I set a goal to save $500 just by myself with cash. And this was after I paid off all my credit card debt and all my I had one student loan. I paid off my little student loan and I paid off my credit cards. And I said, now I want to have $500. Can I save that much? When it hit 500, I was like, now I want to save 1,000. I want to save 1,000. Then when I hit 1,000, I'm like,
those little goals, right?
Now I want to save 5,000 and challenging myself to see if I could do it. It was like it became that kind of feeling where I was like, I want to challenge myself and then I want to meet the challenge. So when you have goals, it motivates you to achieve them.
Right. And you find the balance too, because I think a lot of people sometimes say, do I have to pay off my debt first before I start investing? And I always say, no, find the balance for you with your values. So if it is, paying some of that credit card debt, but then stowing away a little bit that you're saving the $50 a month, at least you have a little cushion as you're paying off your debt. So there's a way of doing it, but figuring out that your goals start off small. And I love that.
Start off small. I always talk about every day, if you can have one small financial win, you will have a very big fortune one day. So just take it slow and then build from there.
I love that. I really love that. So any final things that we want to say, especially in particular, obviously we're talking to everybody, but especially and in particular to young girls. If you're a teenage girl, whatever age you are, if you're 15, if you're 17, if you're 18, if you're 21, if you just turned 20, 19, that is the age where you want to start learning about this stuff. And it's so important to feel like this is actually something you can do. This is for you, because a lot of investors, they look like older men with business suits and ties and they speak fancy language. Just because you don't look like that and you don't talk like that doesn't mean that you can't be an investor too. You can't. We're all investors.
You can look how we look. You can look like Yaneli.
That's
you can look like Natalie.
That's right.
We all invest into the stock market. And you should too.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I think I'll leave you with my favorite quote that I always tell people is you can have fun, be fabulous, and frugal.
Yes.
That's right. Be fabulous and frugal.
I love that. Yes.
All right. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys. Bye.